Hey, I want to be honest and say that I know that I realize that most of the things that we see on a daily basis has some form of indoctrination or some underlying element of shit designed to make us feel or think a certain way. I understand it. I understand more than most the power of advertising and multimedia across platforms and shit. Images that you see, smells, anything, stimulation, the five senses and all. I understand that and shit, okay? And, being that I understand that, maybe I shouldn't be making this video, but I feel that I must and shit. I have to be real with myself if I'm going to be real when I make videos for my audience and shit. So, that being said, I want to apologize because I realized that on some level I'm indoctrinated, okay? I'm indoctrinated, alright? And the reason I'm making this video is because I'm upset about something that I saw recently, alright? You can probably guess that it's, well, it involves, Superman. Yeah, Superman. So, everybody knows who Superman is. I don't have to explain that shit, okay? And if I do, you shouldn't be watching this video, because this is obviously very nerdy content and shit, okay? And, I feel entitled to say that, alright? I'm qualified to say that and shit, and I'll put it that way. So, recently I learned via Twitter in a video on YouTube that a comic had been produced. I don't know what the time frame is, but a comic had been produced. It became aware to me through this YouTube video that someone produced a comic in which Superman was depowered and made a human for a short period of time, and he was in a foreign country, so that he was taken to prison and shit. This applied as the Soviet Union, but he was taken to prison where he was beaten and tortured and physically violated and shit, if you get my drift. Physically violated and shit, okay? So, when I watched the video, the guy that was in the video, he was losing his shit. He was going off. And I really can't say, but, the guy was like, they hate white men and all this shit, So, like, how I feel, I'm a straight black man and shit. I feel a certain way about things and shit because of pop culture and social media and shit. Everything's been designed to make one part of a society look away while, people that look like me are demonized and, made to look bad. Everything black mostly is bad and shit, okay? That's the way it is. That's why you got a good guy with a white hat on, you got a bad guy with a black hat on. But when I was watching it, looking at the video and everything, and they showed the images, they actually had drawings of Superman bound on his knees with his head on a chair to imply that, he was getting his pussy, busted and shit by a bunch of guys, And they had like superimposed the picture of his head screaming and shit, above the actual picture. So just because they couldn't actually draw the guys doing it, I know the sick degenerate that drew this comic would have loved to draw these guys doing it to Superman. And it was drawn in the way he's normally seen. It wasn't shitty art like a lot of these propaganda pieces. They get some hack to do it. But it was drawn, they superimposed a giant version of his head in the same comic book frame with him screaming and shit, so you knew that he was getting, he was getting his pussy, cleaned up. He was getting rotted out and shit, okay? I'll put it that way. Descriptive, non-stimulating description for, because we don't want no degenerates sitting up here watching this shit with eating an apple. And then, when I'm reading this shit, now I'm looking at the one panel I can stand to look at. Superman narrating his whole assault. He says that I was made to look at the general. Every time this happened, he was sitting there watching and shit. And I was pointed in his direction while they were doing it. And then they show his head in the frame, in the bottom frame. And the guy sitting there, like, kind of in a suggestive way. And I thought, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I gotta be honest, I know about indoctrination and propaganda and the power of it and shit, and the whole Lenny Rumpstyle thing, from Germany and all that crap. I understand it, but I have to admit, I am indoctrinated. This pissed me off. I was like, how could he do this to fucking Superman, Because today in identity politics era and shit, they seem to be intent on just mind fucking everyone and shit. Just doing the whole group thing, the group think shit. They're not even covert about it. They're just out in the open. It's just shitty. I guess they feel like if they just keep bombarding you with all this agenda shit, you know, all this sexual crap, all this kind of political shit that they say, they try to assign it to black people, but the shit ain't working. It don't inform to us. We're a different demographic. Any white person that's mad at us and shit because of woke shit is a fucking idiot. Because this just, you're an idiot. They're assigning this shit to our community. Like everything bad they assign. They've assigned you know, the certain virus to us. You know, that's been messing up the world lately. They assign all the shit to blacks, you know. Even the hate crimes, they assign it to us. So if you think woke equals black, you're a racist. Alright? But I'm gonna say, I was pissed off when I saw Superman getting his pussy rotted out. I ain't gonna lie, that shit made me mad. I was like, do they have to defile everything and shit? This is part of what I'm talking about when they just gonna do this whole club you over the head with their agenda. They just wanna club you over the head. This ain't about being gay or nothing. But they wanna club you over the head with this shit. And what better way than to defile the most, you know, icon? This was produced by DC Comics, by the way. DC Comics put this shit out. I can't believe it. Like, they would actually put out their flagship character in this position and shit. This does not make them sympathetic at all. It just makes people angry. And a lot of people are angry. A lot of white guys are angry and shit. A lot of people are just angry. Because people don't want to see that shit. He's an icon and shit, okay? He's up there next to the white Jesus picture, okay? He's the most recognizable character on the planet. If you show that Superman shield to anybody on any corner of this planet, for the most part, 80% of this planet will know who the fuck that is. They know what that is and shit. It's a long history of Superman since the 30s when he premiered. And to have him get roped in jail, roped, okay, you two, roped, to have him get sexually assaulted and his pussy busted, you know, it's just beyond egregious. But, like, I wanted to know, like, the guy that was raging on his video, he didn't take it to its logical conclusion when he was going off and shit. You know, it's more important to know who's doing this shit, not just that DC put it out. Not just that DC put it out and shit, okay? But I wanted to know who was responsible for the shit, okay? I wanted to know who the fuck was responsible. And the writer responsible for this shit is John Ridley. He's a black man and shit. A black dude. And this is his assault on, you know, pop culture, I suppose. This is his take on it. And he framed it like, oh, I'm doing this because I want the mainstream to know what it feels like to be a marginalized personality. I'm like, you work in Hollywood, dude. You work in Hollywood. You work in that industry, in that system and shit that creates all these negative images of us and shit. And some of your projects have followed that route as well, okay? You work in that industry. You do not get into that industry without making a sacrifice of yourself, your morals, your shit. There's no way around it. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not outing myself, my identity. But there's no fucking way that you could work and make a movie for mainstream distribution and shit, and on Netflix and all the other shit you've done, without giving up something, okay? If you get my drift. So, like, can you keep this perverted shit to yourself? Alright, can you keep this perverted, nasty shit to yourself? Why can't you just write an original story and shit, okay? Why can't we do that? You know, it gets on my fucking nerves sometimes. Gets on my fucking nerves. Like, sometimes I watch, like, Sean James videos and everything. He be putting out his stuff. He be promoting this shit, okay? He always promoting this shit, no matter what. But, like, you have motherfuckers like this, they can produce a comic and shit and all this. He want to butt fuck, he want to, you know, do shit to Superman. You know, they made Superman gay recently. You know, he has a purple-haired boyfriend now, you know. Whatever. You know, he did some other shit, too. Batman was a simp. You know, they're probably gonna turn him gay soon, too. Robin's a bisexual, which means gay. Yeah, they're doing this shit. This is shit. They put this shit in comic books for your children to read and shit, if they even still read these things and not just playing video games or fucking around on their phones, which is usually the case. And I'm worried. I've actually told my wife that she cannot buy my son any comics and shit. I don't want him reading any of this shit. You know, I can't enjoy that. When I was a kid, I read comics and shit. I was called and, you know, I was heckled and shit for reading comics. And I'll put it that way. And then to grow up and diss everybody and there's all this, I'm a geek, you know, I was a nerd in high school. You was not shit. Nobody knows what it's like being a fucking nerd and shit. It's not some shit you wanted to be. But now it's part of this pop culture shit and this big diaspora of just like a fucking mess of hacks and, agenda politics and all this crap. You can't even enjoy just a plain fucking comic book. You have to self-produce and shit. We need to take control of our image and shit and clean, polished, media. Okay, not just shitty stuff. You can't just put out shit. You gotta put out something clean and polished and shit. But getting back to John Ridley, man. Dude, shaking my fucking head. Shaking my fucking head, dude. What the fuck's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Did you think this was provocative and shit? Are you mad because your pussy got busted when you made your first studio films? You mad about that? You know you got your pussy busted, okay? And I looked you up and they say you had a wife and kids and shit. That don't mean shit in Hollywood. Will Smith has a wife and kids. Get my drift. Jamie Foxx has some kids and shit and had a wife and was with females and shit. Don't mean nothing. Eddie Murphy got motherfucking kids. Don't mean nothing. Johnny Gill got motherfucking kids. Don't mean nothing. Okay? Bunch of other motherfuckers I can name, with one eyebrow raised, got kids that don't mean nothing. Okay? You mad, man. You mad. You shitty. You just want people to feel a certain way. You want to piss off, I guess you want to piss off, I'm going to assume you want to piss off white guys or something. I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit about that, but I'm just like, I'm tired of agenda-driven shit, okay? I'm tired of it. It's heavy-handed. It's not subtle in any way. It's just badgering you. If we're truly in George Orwell's 1984, I'm a goner. I'm just going to die. When those thought police come kicking my fucking door down and point a gun at me while I'm sitting in my laptop or whatever, on my fucking phone, I'm just gonna tell them to shoot.